quiet seaside town, an evil laid to rest centuries ago, has risen. An abandoned fortress deep in the swamp holds a secret that could save the village or destroy it. Now, a band of adventurers sets out to dig up the wounds of the past and bring the light of day to the roots of ruin. This is Tabletop Gold.
And welcome to Tabletop Gold, The Roots of Ruin, episode 26. My name is Lars Casteen. I'm your host. I'm your game master. It's me. Good old Larzo is my name. And you know, there are names of other people here right now. Let's hear what they are. I'm going to tell you what they are, and then they're going to say hello. Hi, Robin. Are you here?
Hi, Lars.
Zoe is here. Zoe Chernicoff is there. Sorry, let me try that again. Robin Lange is here.
Hi, Lars.
Hi, thank you. Zoe Chernicoff is here.
Hello, thank you.
Wait, I think he was thanking me, actually. Zoe.
Oh, thank you then, Robin. I meant when I said
thank
you.
you, Zoe.
Yeah.
This is good. David the Tin Man Chernicoff is here.
Thank you all. Hello.
And our Matt Humphreys is also here. Hello.
Hello, hello.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Armatt.
Thank you.
Thank you. If we sound a little crispy, a little crunchy tonight, I'm going to tell you why I think that's happening for me. But it's going to involve letting you, the listener, in on a little bit of behind-the-scenes podcasting business that you won't really hear anywhere else. We record this show in the past. You might think that what you're hearing is the live voice of somebody talking to you through your phone. No.
Time travel.
No, siree.
This recording happened at some point in the past, and I'm going to give you a hint as to when it happened. It happened roughly 3 days after the clock exploded, and now I feel as though it's 4 o'clock in the morning, and I can't keep my eyes open because daylight savings time is over, and I don't know what I'm going to do.
There are two.
This is my favorite time of the year.
Yeah, there are two kinds of people in the world. People who enjoy when daylight savings time happens around now because they get an extra hour of sleep.
Yay!
And people with children.
I would like to add to that, people with seasonal affective disorder, because I use this lamp every morning and I have to get up an hour earlier in order to get the benefits of this artificial sunrise every morning. So I'm getting up at 5:30 now in order to use my therapy lamp.
Interesting. I didn't. So I've heard of these before. I didn't realize that that the way that it worked was that you had dedicated time with it versus it being in your space where you were spending time anyway and sort of passively absorbing or like sort of multitasking, and one of your tasks is being under the lamp. Yeah,
this is news to me too.
So the thing is, like, when you look up how you're supposed to use a therapy lamp, well, first off, it's huge. Let me show you this thing.
Yes, please.
This is the lamp.
Wow. Listener, this lamp is like the size of Lars's torso, and Lars is
we're at like
a very tall
20
man.
by 18 inches, maybe? Like, that's a pretty big.
Totally. It's a big rectangle with like this bright LED in the middle of it. You're supposed to be between 12 and like 24 inches from it. So there's really not that much that you're able to do while you are sitting in front of this lamp. So it's like I do other things, like I write emails, I like try to get a start in my day as I have this thing in my face, but I'm not like making breakfast or anything.
Does it hurt your eyes being that close to it?
Yeah, sure it does. Yeah, kind of. I'm going to turn it on for you. My Zoom camera is certainly not going to be able to handle this.
Again, I'll remind you, Lars, this is a podcast.
Oh boy, yeah.
Oh, God, I looked right at it. Oh, jeez.
I've blinded everybody in the show.
We are blinded one.
All of a sudden, I know how the Morlocks feel.
I am dazzled.
Dazzled.
Yeah, but the idea is that you sit in front of it and it like resets your body's rhythms to think that the day is longer. So during daylight, or when daylight savings time ends and the sun starts rising earlier and starts setting earlier, it's like I have to back time every other thing. There's one more thing I want to show you. I'll be right back. Talk amongst yourselves.
Oh, goodness. Wow.
Oh,
Saw
the
this
power
coming.
he's just given us.
Guys, hang on. I'm just going to slate in like 4 times.
Just so poor listener, the slate jokes, we have to slate in so that Lars can adjust all of our sound since we record on Zoom just to make sure we're all synced up. And David really loves to fuck with his slates just to make it life more difficult for Lars.
I just think it's important to loosen the poor guy up before we start the show.
Or
You know,
Give
he's
him
always
something to
so-
laugh about.
He's always so organized. It doesn't seem right.
So, did you have a good conversation?
Absolutely.
I don't know.
I'm excited to
I don't
edit
remember.
this podcast and hear what it is that you guys were talking about.
What's your over-under on how many times David slated in?
I hope it's 0 because
No,
I
not
cut-
hope. You're a betting man.
Okay.
What are you betting on?
I'm betting he did it twice.
Okay. Well, you'll get to see.
So this other thing that I just went to grab to bring back to you is like I do traveling during the winter months. You know, people travel a lot for Christmas and New Year's and family holidays, that whole thing. That's kind of like the worst time of the year for me in terms of the seasonal depression thing. And I'm not going to travel with this like 1 by 2 foot lamp, right?
No.
I'm not going to throw this thing. So I
Understandable.
bought off the internet this visor that I can travel with that perches onto my nose and then blasts light directly into my eye. This thing, it's like vaguely a Geordie LaForge-esque.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that it was Geordie LaForge-esque?
Yes.
Totally.
So does the science on this say like just at your eyes is what matters? I say this as someone interested in a sun lamp who's never owned one. So it's not like the whole face or your whole body. It's like your eyes just receiving it and being tricked. It's like the reverse of a bird in a cage with a sheet over it.
Yes.
That's what the scientists say. They say, do the reverse bird cage sheet situation.
My understanding is that it's making something happen in your brain that your brain does in response to light, all of which comes in through your eyes. So you could just kind of short circuit the process.
Yeah, I don't know if you know this, but if you want to detect light, the eyes cannot be beat. It's really like the best organ that you've got for bringing light into your brain.
Well, Lars, I'm sympathetic. I also have tried using one of those sad lamps.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's weird. Does yours ionize the air around it so it has that weird like ozone flavor that lets you know it's working so good?
I had no idea about that.
What does that even mean from like a scientific perspective? What's happening there?
It's driving up the price point.
So Armet, what was your experience using this lamp?
Oh, it was okay. It didn't really work, but like I have like kind of all year round depression, so it's sort of hard to separate what's just the festival decoration and what's the base layer of grime and misery that corrodes my soul.
Right? Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. So I got that going for me.
Word. Sounds good.
Cool.
Cool. Awesome.
Hey now. All right.
So you must have like a really big lamp then, is what
That's
you're trying to
what
tell
they
me.
give you.
Actually, yours is looking way better to me. Mine was sort of smaller and appropriately ineffectual.
Well, from my professional opinion, I think there's your problem, sir. It's the lamp.
That's been my experience with mental health practitioners as well. Is like first you get diagnosed with depression, and then they give you a lamp, and then they ask you if you're better yet, and you say that you're not better yet, and they just keep giving you more and more and more lamps.
Bigger and bigger, right? You
I
can tell how
have
many times.
Quite the collection.
And this is, of course, as we're
Oh,
joking
la,
about
la,
this, this
la.
is not to deride your lamp, Lars, which does seem to actually help you.
No, I seriously think every year at this time about trying one and then just never get my act together.
It could work with your new morning wake up routine that you've been doing.
Right now I can't because daylight savings and our children means that the children are awake then, and they're definitely going to smash that lamp.
Yeah, out of a kind of bloody-minded spite.
Maybe you need like a really, really, really big lamp to solve all of these problems that you're describing.
That's interesting. Do you get tan from it? Is this like parenting neglect if you put your kids in front of the lamp?
Yeah, that's right. You blast yourself with deadly radiation, and it solves all of your problems.
For a little. Your skin is so golden.
You look great. Yeah, you just feel good. You mainly feel better for how beautifully
It's an
tanned you are.
outside-in kind of therapy.
It's like a tanning bed for your brain.
It's like a tanning bed for your brain. You know what else is like a tanning bed for your brain? Is our game that we're about to play. I'm very excited about what's going to happen tonight. It's sort of been a long time coming. Before we get into the game, there's some updates on little house rules that I want to give you, the listener. You know, we're smoothing things out with crit cards and hero points and all that stuff, and we're kind of like evolving as we're going. So I'm just going to lay it all out for you. One, I've pulled every one of the save or die cards from the hero point deck. There was a card that you heard maybe 2-3 episodes ago that was like, make a fortitude save or die. Those are gone. Two, we talked last episode about listener submitted hero point cards, which you can submit your ideas now by finding the link to our Discord server at www.tabletopgold.com. We are going to shift the way those hero point cards are working so that all of our players are pulling from the same pool, so they get to pick which of the available hero point cards they want to use. We're just going to try this out for a little bit, but it makes it more likely that these hero point cards will come out, which is what it is that we really want. And three, this is the big house rule that I'm very excited about. Because there's been a lot of controversy on this show lately. A lot of people have been complaining about these crit cards that don't double your damage. Again, all of you have been complaining about this in equal measure. It's not like there's one person who's been going overboard with complaining about it. So this isn't really meant to soothe any one person. This is meant to make the game better for everybody.
Overboard is subjective.
David, have you slated in yet?
Okay, so I'm seriously, I'm cutting every single reference to slating because the listener has no idea what the fuck it is because it never goes into the show. It's not good. Please stop it. It's not good. Okay, so here's the house rule. Anytime a fumble card or a crit card comes out, any player can cancel it by spending a hero point. So if you've got a normal damage crit that you don't want to happen, spend a hero point, get rid of the card. It'll just be a regular crit. If you're mad at me because you were quote unquote instantly killed by an enemy crit, spend a hero point, we'll throw that card out and it'll just be a regular double damage card. Do you kind of get what I'm saying?
And you get to know the effects before you decide to do that.
Yeah, you'll hear the effect, and then anybody who wants to, or anybody who chooses to, can spend a hero point to cancel out a fumble card or a crit card.
For someone else included.
For anybody,
right.
in any situation.
Makes sense.
All right, let's get into our game. If you're enjoying Tabletop Gold, please rate and review us on your podcast app of choice, and let's get into it. In exploring the underground level of the keep surrounding Gauntlight, the ancient lighthouse, you've had a number of run-ins with Morlocks, pale, long-limbed, light-blinded humanoids with a penchant for tinkering with mechanical oddities. You currently find yourself in a room they've converted into a prison cell. An inhumane, foul-smelling chamber that was holding 3 people. 2 identical men bearing mustaches and potbellies, and a woman who seems very familiar to Tril. And when we're picking up today, this woman, Beffrey, has just approached Tril and collapsed on the ground, unconscious.
Tril's looking at Beffrey at her feet. She's got her hands on Beffrey's shoulders, and she's gently shaking her. Beffrey? Beffrey! Beffrey, are you okay?
She has been through quite a lot, says one of these two men.
Tril looks up. Are you Jeffrey or are you Joffrey?
Joffrey's not here. They said that they were Jeffrey and Meffrey.
I am Meffrey, so you have heard of me.
We, says Norman, caught up in the moment.
Oh, you speak Galtian, do you?
We?
Yes. We.
We. And he looks back down at Beffrey on the floor and he's like, here, I got this. And he wants to try and he's going to get his gauze out and tape it to her face, assuming that will help with her malnourishment. But do a medicine check.
Sure. Let's get the medicine check.
That was dangerously close to a 1, everyone. But it did turn over into a 19 for a 23.
Oh.
Killing Beffrey right now?
You take a look at Beffrey, and you can tell, like the other two in the room, that she has not really been fed. You look around and you see that there's like a pail of dirty water that has long gone dry. So they're malnourished. They haven't been eating, they haven't been drinking, and they are all very weak.
Well, Tril reaches into her backpack to pull out some rations.
We've got Snooks!
Mag reaches into her pouch and begins offering a variety of healthy and protein-packed snacks.
Forage from the wilderness.
Didn't Meg pick up some nuts or something?
Yeah. She's got some berries. She's got some nuts.
Healthy snack.
She's got a family kind of like slightly baked, like honey granola crumble kind of thing. It's an old family recipe.
God, Meg.
So she's handing out the goodies.
And Norman takes a canteen and pours a little water into Beffrey's mouth.
Tril takes the canteen from Norman as Norman tries to. She's like, I got this. I can do this.
Okay.
Vadim shoulders his way up to try and get a look at Beffrey's face, trying to determine if she is the woman from his visions.
As Vadim's getting closer to Beffrey, Tril looks up at Vadim. A picture will last longer.
I'm just trying to focus. I've lost a lot of blood. Oh,
Maybe sit down.
As he says this, Mag puts a berry in his mouth.
What is that? The raspberry? A strawberry?
So Vadim takes a look at her face and recognizes or immediately comes to the conclusion that this is not the face from his dream. As the four of you crowd around Beffrey, the other, Jeffrey, says, I can tell from observing the situation that she is somebody important to you.
Who is she to you? How did you all get down here?
And Meffrey talks, and he says, well, perhaps you have heard of us. Les incroyables triplets Jeffrey.
We
together accomplished heists incroyables heard throughout Golarion. And we learned quite recently that we had a long lost sister, a Beffrey, apparently. And she attracted us. She wrote to us, and we reconnected with her to do what she told us was the heist of a lifetime.
But when was this? Beffrey never mentioned you to me.
Jeffrey responds, well, I can tell from analyzing the situation as you've laid it out to me that perhaps the Beffrey did not tell you everything about herself.
No.
Que incroyable, says Norman.
That's right. Les incroyables triplets, Jeffrey.
Oui. What was the heist? I love a good heist.
And as you ask this question, Beffrey has managed to get some of that water down, and the smell of the crooks nooks snooks fills her nose, and she gasps for air and looks up at Tril.
Beffrey.
She meets Tril's eyes. She says, "Oh, it was my dream that you would come. And now I see that this dream is one I have woken up from, and the dream continues. Tril, you look amazing. Your colors are even more vivid than they were before."
Tril looks at Beffrey, and then she looks up at Jeffrey and Meffrey, and she feels very confused all of a sudden.
Beffrey, you never mentioned your brothers to me before. What are you doing here? Ynyasmara told me to come look for you.
You are so beautiful. Why did we ever break up? Why couldn't we make it work?
Oh, Beffrey.
And Jeffrey says, "It seems from the information I'm gathering right now that the two of you have had a relationship romantique."
Oui, says Norman.
And Beffrey raises her eyes at Norman. And she says, "Oh, and who are you?" And she motions towards you to help her up as she's like shivering and, barely able to keep track of what it is that she's saying. Like as you're talking to her and as you're having this interaction with her, you can see that it takes a lot of strength for her to project this attitude of nonchalance.
And Norman gets one arm under her, and he kind of motions to Mag to come help because he can hold her up, but he figures it'll be easier. And he looks around. He says, "Do you guys think maybe we should talk about this as we walk back to town? I don't think there's any reason for us to stay here, and someone bad's sure to show up. Can you guys walk if we help you?"
Perhaps you could escort us away? And Meffrey sneers from the room, and he says, "Look at how quickly she's willing to abandon our lost brother."
Do you know where he is? Where is Joffrey?
But that's a good question, isn't it? You know, we are captured immediatement. I am concerned, and he sneers at Beffrey, that perhaps the family tendency towards masterful heisting and thievery may not have gotten absorbed into such a far-flung portion of our family. Because when we came here with our long-lost sister, she put us on a boat, and we were immediately captured and taken here to this horrible, lamentable place.
Who captured you? What did they look like?
Oh, you've seen them. And he motions towards the two, like, dead Morlocks sitting out in the workshop a short ways away from you. And he says, "We got in the boat, we came downstairs, and no sooner was she leading the way to whatever it is that we were supposed to steal with her, and we were thrown in this cell." And he coughs. He's like, as though it is paining him to speak.
Well, but what about Joffrey? I lost the part where he got lost.
That's where I'm getting to.
Okay.
What I think is an important part of this story. We were held in this cell for quite some time, and then one of those creatures, the pale ones with the eyes, The white eyes, you see them. You see them, right?
We. Yeah, yes, we.
And they
We do,
came
yes.
asking to take one of us away. And the three triplets, Jeffrey, we are resolute. Fraternité, he says, threading his fingers together. And Bethre, our sister, volunteered Geoffrey with little hesitation to be taken away by our captors to wherever it is they are taking us, one by one. Right now there are 3. Before there were 4. If not for you, I'm sure in the future there will be 2. And Deux. And I guarantee you that one of those deux would be that Bethry.
Okay, well, I'm getting the sense everyone's working through some stuff. Were there only those 2 Morlocks, or have you seen more of them?
Oh, we have seen many of them. You think those 2 would be able to capture us on their own?
No, I just checking. You seem very strong.
And Jeffrey says, well, I have gathered from the information that I have collected about our captors that there are many of them. They appear to be some sort of a cult.
Oh.
Religious fanatics. Fanatic religios.
Who do they worship?
Yeah, there's a lot of weird religious stuff going on around this building that we've noticed.
And Beffrey chimes in and says, perhaps we should be moving on? And Meffrey says, quiet, Beffrey! They worship something they call in their undercommon tongue, Nang Nang Bonabo. And they raise their eyebrows very meaningfully at you, like you know exactly what it is that he just said.
Do you guys speak Undercommon? I've got the whatever you Galarians call it, the Français, but I don't have the Undercommon yet.
Beffrey looks at Tril and she says, Tril, you would come here underground with people who do not speak Undercommon? What mania has overtaken you that none of you have bothered to learn a language that is obviously going to be eminently useful in countless situations? Tril, I worry about you. You should come work with me, not with these people. Your life is at risk.
Well, you kind of just vanished on me.
Well, I know you could take care of yourself, Tril. It's you.
Oh, but now you doubt me? Hmm?
Meffrey chimes in and he says, this is typical of my sister. She talks out of both sides of her mouth.
Trill is filled with so many feelings at this moment of looking at this woman who she fell so hard for and so passionately for so quickly, but at the same time who ghosted her, essentially, who like vanished, who left her just floating around. And then here she is, obviously lying, and still won't even say what they're doing there. Trill just keeps asking, but Beffrey, why are you here? What did you come here for? I just risked my life to get down here for you and to get you. You're telling me I shouldn't have come here if I don't speak Undercommon, and you're still not even telling me why you came here in the first place with these long-lost brothers you never told me about. What kind of heist were you trying to do? What did you come after for here?
Tril, I do not expect you to understand.
I expect you to tell me something, though.
You look so beautiful right now.
Don't give me that. This is not the time. You're the one who left me.
Here is the truth, Tril. When you have 3 incredibly powerful psychics in your family that you can call to come and aid you. The question isn't what is it that you want to take from a vast, unexplored place like this one. The question is, what do you not want to take? This place is filled with outrageous treasures, and with myself and, of course, my 3 incredible psychic brothers, now 2 remaining, and really one of them is more of a conduit between the 2, so he's sort of what they call a third wheel at this point. And Meffrey says, "You be quiet, Beffrey. I am not a third wheel." And Beffrey says, "Regardless."
Wait, you guys are psychics?
And Meffrey says, "Mais oui, of course. Les incroyables triplets Jeffrey. I thought you said you knew of us."
We had there the view," says Norman, adopting a French accent for no reason at all, except for that he's just been inundated
And
with it.
Beffrey raises her eyebrows at that.
So he leaves and he turns to go talk to Jeffrey, who's been identified as the most psychic, and he's like, "Psychic, huh? I mean, I'd heard, but hit us up with some of your best insights about what's going on here. Let us see you in action."
Well, that is a difficult thing for me to do because, one, I'm incredibly fatigued.
Oui.
Here's the problem. There's me, Jeffrey, and I'm gathering from the information that I see in front of me that you have ascertained that I'm the analytical one. There's Meffrey, the conduit, as he raises his prosthetic hand and motions towards Meffrey. And then there was Joffrey, les enfants terribles, the emotional one. He was quite a hothead, and little did we know that we had our 4th, the quadruplet, Beffrey.
Quadruplets.
We got the letter, and we came, and we visited, and we quickly fell into this plan.
Mag is supporting Beffrey with one arm, and through most of this has been chewing on a large piece of celery from her snack pouch. But upon hearing that these 4 are 3 identical triplets and a non-identical quadruplet, she slowly lowers the celery to her pouch and picks up the pain-killing root that she carries with her and begins chewing on that instead.
And she looks at Mag, and she says, "Oh, I would not have taken you as somebody who had a sense of the alchemical in such a way. Really, I would have guessed that you are a lot more stupid than that from your appearance."
Thank you.
No, it's just that I didn't think you are someone with interests.
I don't know if this is true in Gold, but in Ustalov, this is considered very rude.
She looks at you and she says, the sword that you carry is incredible."
Oui, says
Yes,
Norman.
I know this. Of course.
It's a beautiful weapon. The craftsmanship is incredible.
And Vadim sort of perks up and sort of puffs up and then sits back down and shuts up.
Tril's eyes go wide, watching the exchange between Beffrey and Mag, and then Beffrey and Vadim, as though lights are starting to go off in her head. Her eyes are just going wide, and she's blinking like, wait, what did I just observe?
Norman is looking around. He's tried to talk to Jeffrey. He's tried to talk to Meffrey. And it seems like they need Joffrey for their psychic abilities to work. He also is not feeling great and gathers that Vadim is not feeling great and feels like he wants to get these people out of here. So he's going to start making a push for everyone to mobilize, but feels like he needs to get this cleared with these brothers or start lying to them to get them out of there if they're not going to come willingly. He's like, okay, so it sounds like they took Joffrey and you didn't see where they took him, and none of us are doing so well. So I think we got to go back to town, and then we can come back here and look for Joffrey. I don't think any of us are in any condition to deal with more of those those Morlocks. We gotta learn some Undercommon, maybe. I don't know. What do you say?
Meffrey looks at you and he says, well, the four of you do not look particularly healthy on yourself.
That's what I mean.
Look at the skinny one. He is incredibly wounded.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Let's heal ourselves and head back to town and rest up and figure out what we're doing.
Yeah, so if the four of you if you'd like to heal, go ahead and roll some medicine checks, and let's figure out how long it takes to get healed up.
I think just
Vadim
Norman and Vadim just need to heal.
can lay on hands and do about 36 hit points an hour. So
I need 12 of them.
Okay, so that would leave 24, which would put Vadim back up to 30, which is just too short of his max.
Then I'm short,
So
14.
And Vadim is wounded, so you'll probably want to treat wounds to get rid of the wounded condition as well.
totally. So maybe we take an hour and then Vadim makes a treat wounds attempt on himself.
Is anybody going to keep watch to make sure that our imprisoners do not come back?
Tril has no spell slots left, FYI, but Tril can keep watch when she's focused. When she spends a few minutes to focus.
And so can Mag. I'm short a few hit points, but I can start keeping watch immediately. And as I get healed up, stay with Tril by the door or whatever. Do we need to spend any actions on getting these other folks strong enough to walk, move? Like, are they so frail they can't go with us through these corridors?
Yeah, from Norman's medicine check that he did a little while ago, I think that you get that the difficulty that they have moving, the sort of emaciated look that they have is something that is not going to be quickly resolved. Like, they're going to need to get back home. They're going to need to get professional attention for some extended period of time.
They need some fresh crooks, nooks, snooks.
I think we've given them one.
With the fresh dill.
They need that and probably more than that also, but yes, the snooks will. Yeah, you're right. Sure.
Fresh snooks while getting a nice night's sleep at the inn.
And maybe some medical attention as well. Yes. But I mean, I don't know. Look.
I mean, really all they need is some aromatherapy.
Yeah, what they need is a
Crystals.
lifestyle change. And that should clear it all up for them, I'm sure.
Yes. Less red meat.
Well, I rolled a medicine check and got 13, which I assume is not going to do it.
It's below 15, it's a failure.
So I think we're going to have to do 2 hours if we want to be... What time is it right now, Lars, if we go an hour?
It is right around 2 o'clock in the afternoon on today, Wheel Day, the 13th of Gazrin, 4721 AR.
Tril's at full health. We should get me up to full health so that I can stand guard while everybody else is getting gradually more. And if somebody comes back, Tril and I can frontline against them and try to help everybody else out.
Okay, and Vadima's doing a medicine check as well.
He rolled a 15 precisely. So that
Okay,
should...
so you will get rid of the wounded conditions. So Vadim is able to patch up his most egregious of wounds. And you spend the next 2 hours, healing up, laying on hands, repairing each other, and so on, until it's around 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And the chatter in the room dies down as the hours wind on, as you get the sense that Jeffrey and Meffrey are starting to distrust something about Beffrey. They don't seem that positive about Beffrey. They whisper at each other and motion at her.
I got that sense. They seem a little salty about the throwing Joffrey under the bus.
Yeah, that
among
came
maybe
through.
other things.
Where?
So Norman is sort of, while he's healing and waiting for Vadim to tend to Mag and himself, he's sort of sidled up in the corner with the two of the quadruplets. So he's like chatting them up. He's like, "Oh, you guys seem to have had such a hard time down here. Do you want to go on? Do you want to go back to Otari? What are your hearts and minds telling you?"
Well, we need immediate medical attention. I'm dying of hunger as you are talking. And then we will need to maybe take a night of rest, and then we have to come back to find our Joffrey.
That makes sense to
Obviously.
me. Do you think she's going to try and stop you? He whispers and points at Beffrey.
No, I think she is, she is a complicated person. Of course, she grew up in the orphanage and did not know who she was, and she suffered from amnesia for many years, and then she recovered herself, and she has been through quite a bit. I feel as though some issues of judgment were maybe not what they should be. And Jeffrey interrupts and he says, I have perhaps gathered from observing her quite closely that I am not so sure that she actually had the amnesia that she says she had. There's something about her that makes me I cannot quite yet put my finger on it. If only Joffrey were here, he would know what to do. I feel as I am a ship, rudderless, in an endless ocean of data and information. I don't know how to process any of it.
Mag, hearing this, she walks to the far end of the chamber and motions for Tril to follow her down there, out of earshot of the two triplets.
What's up, Mag?
Tril, what did Beffrey? What did she tell you about herself?
Well, I mean, I guess we didn't really talk a lot. I mean, I know that she grew up in an orphanage. I know that she doesn't remember an awful lot about herself from before the orphanage, but we didn't really talk a lot about anything from before we met. A lot of it was just, getting up to trouble and getting up to adventures and having a good time together and staying distracted and...
Okay. All right.
And Trill's just kind of getting a big smile, and her eyes are looking off into the distance.
Yeah, I think I get the picture, says Mag, who, it should be clear, only sort of gets the picture.
But then Trill's also like, but that was then. That was when we'd spend time together and when she was there and then she wasn't there. And now this is now.
Here's what I'll say about now. I don't trust her. The stories she's telling, they don't make even the barest amount of sense. I've seen her try to manipulate me. I think what she was doing was negging me. I've seen her try to manipulate Vadim through flattery. Being raised in an orphanage with no one who knows you, having memory loss so you can't recall details of the childhood you supposedly shared, it's all too convenient. Frankly, it reminds me, and I mean this in the kindest possible way, it reminds me a little bit of Norman.
And while they're saying this, Norman, who loves a good con, has sidled up to Beffrey because he wants to take in what's happening. It sounds like a really tough childhood. I mean, it must be so meaningful to you to finally find your long lost brothers. Congratulations.
And Beffrey looks at Norman and says, I sometimes feel as though I am many different people. In different situations, I behave in different ways. I was adrift before I found my brothers. But even now, she looks at you meaningfully, I feel as though maybe I am somebody other than who I say I am. Do you know what it is to feel that way?
Absolutely. I know how important it is to figure out a someone that you're being to other people so that they feel good about that. Does that make sense?
And Meffrey starts like convulsing, and Jeffrey calls out. He says, the man is starving to death. We must escape from this horrible place. Are you not ready to take us forward yet?" And he also sort of coughs and collapses on his knees.
Let's go.
And Jeffrey is helping Meffrey back up to his feet. "Please, lead the way. I have spent enough time looking at these horrible, horrible walls."
Let's get out of here.
Yes.
So which way are you guys going as you lead these three forward?
I think the closest is going down and back up the stairs. We came down through the trap door area, right? Where there was the chair that we moved aside and opened up the area.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
You work your way back towards the stairway that connects up to that office room on the ground floor of the keep.
Yeah.
And as you're walking up the stairs, Beffrey motions to Norman and says, "Please, would you mind helping me, Norman? I need some help." And she suggests, she makes eye contact with Norman, suggesting maybe to lead the to motion the rest of the party forward to give them some privacy.
Yeah, he accedes to this.
So as you're going up these stairs, she sort of furtively looks over to Norman and says, "Norman, I need your help. I can tell from talking to you that you are a man with many secrets and you have the capacity to convince people of things that are perhaps not the truth. Listen.
Anything can be true.
I need you to help me convince those two fools that I'm really their sister, because they are starting to have their doubts. And they first started doubting me as soon as those horrible creatures took their brother Joffrey with them. And listen, Norman, what I tell you next, you have to promise you will not tell anyone, especially not Tril, because she's a beautiful person, but she cannot handle this sort of flexibility with facts that people like you and me, we are very similar, Norman.
Mm-hmm.
And if Tril finds out the truth, she will tell them and it will ruin everything. You understand, Norman?
Of course. People need to know what you want them to know.
Now, listen, Norman. My name isn't really Beffrey. It's Barbara de D'Artagnan. That ridiculous accent was a put on. I'm not actually a local thief. I'm from a wealthy family in Absalom, and I need to recover enough wealth by the end of the year in order to financially protect my family's luxury apartment building in the city.
Oh yeah, that sounds important, says Norman, his eyes glowing.
I only became Beffrey to convince those Galtian psychics that I'm their sister, but I need their help. I need to get back with them in here. So please, convince them to work again with me and keep all of this from Tril. You can't tell Tril any of this.
I hear you. What makes you think I'm going to do that?
And she winks at you and she says, we both know what it is like to be different things to different people.
Yeah. I guess we do, he says, and he reaches in his disguise kit and puts a fake mustache on her.
And she rips it off and throws it to the ground and she says, no, please, I need you to be serious. My family's building will be taken from us.
That sounds really hard. I know what it's like to lose everything too, so I can imagine what you're going through.
So you'll help me and you won't tell Tril?
When he cocks his head and he looks at her, he says, yeah, I'll help you.
So intrigued. Oh my goodness.
Sorry, she keeps falling down and I have to get her back. It's like a slinky down here, Norman shouts up the stairs.
I wish I had more pouches.
And the four of you reconvene in this office room on the ground floor of the keep. And there's and Beffrey joins back up with Jeffrey and Meffrey. And the three of them are catching their breath for a moment in this office as the four of you and the three of them stand in this room.
Well, it's been quite an afternoon. What do you all say we get these three back to town and get them some medical help and figure out what our next plan is?
I think we all need some rest. And maybe an Undercommon dictionary.
Yeah. And maybe a drink?
I could certainly use a drink, yeah.
Definitely a drink.
Tril kind of starts jiggling her harp to hear if there's how much
left.
of a drink there is in the hollow of the harp where she always stores some extra booze.
And Beffrey looks at Tril and says, Tril, your friend Norman and I just had a very interesting conversation that I think might be helpful for you and for my two brothers here. Norman, why don't you do what it was that we were saying we would be talking about?
Oh?
I mean, he's convulsing. I'm happy to talk about this on the way back to town, but I sort of feel like we've been puttering around for a while.
And she scowls at Norman and she says, Norman?
Well, we can talk about the family tree on our way. I mean, here we've got one of Otari's few known instances of quadruplets. I think that's something we can celebrate with a toast in town. And he's scanning around trying to figure out how to give the right signal, and he decides that his best bet here is Vadim. And so as he's doing this sort of like celebratory, the family's back together, everything is great, he like catches Vadim's eyes, and his eyes glow for a second, and if you were paying attention, you would see him wink just ever so slightly.
I don't think he fully catches the subtext, but I think he nods and starts to pay a little bit more closer attention to Beffrey and Norman.
Norman's like, it's just uncanny when you think about it. I mean, the things we've heard about happening out here. Did you guys know there's supposed to be a werewolf somewhere in these woods? And, I mean, we found this boat. Come to think of it, that was your boat, huh? Did you guys leave it in that boathouse over around the corner? Anyways, then we find quadruplets, and he just starts like, oh, we found the mifflets. He's like pattering on, just like trying to fill space.
You okay, Norman?
Oh, yeah, I'm good. I just think here we are with a happy family of 3 out of 4 quadruplets, and we should just get back to town and celebrate.
I mean, yeah?
Jill's very confused by whatever is going on right now.
Yeah, so's Mag.
Likewise, Vadim, but he's like, yes, drinking sounds delightful. I lost a lot of blood and I could use some more liquids. I'm still a little bit lightheaded.
So in this moment, Norman is not revealing anything to Tril.
Well, he's like appearing to support Beffrey. That is what he's going for.
Trying to deceive Beffrey into thinking that he's on Beffrey's side while not actually.
Right. He's like pocketing this information and figuring out what he's going to do with it while like trying to signal to the group that like maybe some suspicions about this woman are correct, which is why he like winked at Vadim.
So at this point, Meffrey again starts convulsing, and Jeffrey starts looking panicked, and he says, perhaps we are too late. Please, we must hurry. We must move forward. We are taking too much time.
Should we stop by the druids on the way? Or druid?
Please get us out of here, this place. And he looks around, he says,
let's go.
I wish Joffrey were here. He is able to handle these sorts of things more than I am able to. And Meffrey gets himself back up to his knees, and he's like, looking around right now. We must hurry, please. We must hurry.
Norman's like, you are all incredible.
So you push forward through the main hallway, and they break out into a run to try to get out of this place, Beffrey trailing behind. And they run forward through the hallway onto the wooden drawbridge.
Oop.
Jeffrey and Meffrey running forward, stepping onto the drawbridge at the same time.
Oh, be careful.
And the drawbridge gives way.
It's not that strong.
And just as they step onto the drawbridge, just out of the corner of your eye, you see something. As they're falling into the water in what feels like it's taking forever for them to fall down into the water, a string of fireflies appears, light flickering ominously, pulsating in time to some unheard song. And as the two thieves crash forward into the water, they lock eyes on this string of fireflies, and their eyes open wide in fear. The fireflies start spinning in erratic loops as a soft, warbling hum fills your ears. Move! Run! Move! Run! Beffrey screams.
We have to save them.
As they scramble to climb back onto the bridge, and the bridge just won't, like their fingers start slipping across the mildewy, wet, slick surface of this ancient wooden bridge.
Here, Norman's.
Meg, carry me, hold me.
With incredible speed, the fireflies dart towards these two that have fallen into the water. And as these lights approach, as you are watching this from the far side of the bridge, any attempt to track the at once quickening and slowing patterns of these fireflies makes you grow dizzy. A brief crackle of electricity fills the air as the lights fall upon the two thieves in the water. And we will pick up from there next time.
Why does Tril not have any spells related to wisps? Why don't I have this in the repertoire?
The Roots of Ruin is a Tabletop Gold production, produced under the Paizo Incorporated Community Use Policy. The Roots of Ruin uses trademarks and/or copyrights owned by Paizo Inc., used under Paizo's Community Use Policy. We are expressly prohibited from charging you to use or access this content. Paizo does not recognize, endorse, or sponsor this project in any way. Original characters and content are the property of Tabletop Gold. For more information about Paizo Inc. and Paizo products, visit paizo.com. We at Tabletop Gold would love to hear from you. Email us at letters@tabletopgold.com and find all our social links at tabletopgold.com.